What's going on, golf addicts? DB here with the Tour Junkies. I got Pat Perry with me. This is Tour Junkies After Dark, presented by DraftKings and DraftKings Sportsbook. It's after dark. We've got some. We've got some adult beverages. I'm not gonna show the label. No free ads. No free ads.
Little rosé tonight.
Sipping some rosé. We just recorded our own podcast about the Farmers Insurance Open 2021 from Torey Pines in San Diego, California, which, of course, San Diego means a whales. Yes, so we're excited about this golf tournament. It's going to be a lot of big names. Tiger's not here, but there's still a lot of big names. We're going to talk about a couple names we disagreed with on the podcast that we just had. Debate those for you. Then we're going to get into some DraftKings Sportsbook outright picks. Now, we also have a strategy for this week that I think is something to think about. You have two courses this week. We don't get into the full course breakdown anymore on TJ After Dark because, listen, you can go find all you need to know about the courses on DraftKings Playbook, on Pat Mayo's show, on our show. You can hear everything you want to know about the golf courses. There's two courses. They're going to play each course Thursday and Friday, one round each. Then there's going to be a cut after 36 holes. Top 65 and ties are going to play the weekend. And on the weekend, they're only going to play the South course. So if they play all 4 rounds, 3 rounds on the South course, which is the more difficult course and the host course of this year's 2021 U.S. Open, by the way. And Torey Pines last hosted a U.S. Open in 2008 where Tiger Woods beat Rocco Mediate on a broken leg.
Yeah, which is what can happen to Rocco Mediate because he's just an average golfer. But anyway, Tiger's a great golfer, and he can do that on one leg.
Yeah, man, just Rocco Mediate. You know what I mean? That's what I say. Anyway, it's the Farmers. It's a good week. It's a great week to get into golf because you know what? There's no football. You're done with football. You can't bet on football this week. Even if you want to, you can't, okay? You can't. So focus on golf. We just hit the winner last week. Siwoo Kim, 66-1. And you knuckleheads are betting like you got to – I mean, what do you have to put in like an NBA parlay to hit 66-1? Is that like 7 teams, 8 teams probably?
It's got it, at least, and they're all underdogs.
You're not going to hit that. You're not going to hit that. Come on, be real with yourself. Look yourself in the mirror. You're not going to be real. You're not going to hit that. So, but we hit 66-1 Siwoo Kim last week. We talked about him on the show. We wrote him up on tourjunkies.com. What are you even doing? I don't even know. All right, let's talk about it, Pat. I got a couple names here I disagree with you on. The first is probably going to be a surprise to you. It's up in the top tier. It's a guy that you wanted to fade. Now, Xander Schauffele is a fine young player. Fine young man, I'm sure. Fine young player. Incredible iron player, incredible ball striker. Said in a press conference, quote, I've probably played Torey Pines over 100 times. I kind of butchered that, but it's the vodka. I've probably played it over 100 times. Very familiar with this golf course. This golf course demands length off the tee, tremendous iron play, and good putting on POA surfaces. Now, Xander is very known for his iron play. Fantastic iron player, okay? Top 5, maybe 5 on the PGA Tour in ball striking with irons. He's long enough. He's plenty long. I think bombers do well here. He hits it a long way. POA, putting on POA. If you're new to this, POA is a type of grass. These greens are POA greens. That matters. Believe it or not, grass matters. Hashtag grass matters. And he's actually better on POA than any other surface that he puts on in his PGA Tour career. Why would you not play that guy?
Well, there's a few reasons, here's the thing. I'll say you're right. I mean, everything about Xander Schauffele this week tells you to play him. You look at the stats that we like. You know, you mentioned it: ball striking, approach, putting on POA, all that kind of stuff. But for whatever reason, when Xander steps foot on this property during an actual tournament, he doesn't play it very well. I mean, you look at the last 5 years, he's missed 4 cuts. Okay.
That means
That's not good. Okay. And his best finish is a T25 a couple years ago here in 2019. Now, I don't know. Maybe he's getting a bad draw, but there's a little bit of a trend there when he missed 4 cuts in the last 5 years. And I think his ownership is going to be pretty high. Now, ownership will be weird this week. We'll want to pay attention to that later on in the week because there's so many good players here, especially in that 9K range. It's going to be maybe a little bit more spread out. But I'm kind of guessing that Xander's going to be a little bit higher owned. And I don't like that from a guy who just hasn't shown any form on this course. Now, no fans could be a positive for him. We haven't played here with no fans yet, and so maybe he puts a little too much pressure on himself, being kind of a local kid and
Home
all that
field,
kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We see that, with in a lot of tournaments. But for right now, from what I'm seeing, it's strictly just haven't seen the form on this course. This is a course that I think if it doesn't suit your eye, that you're just not going to play all that well. And obviously, Schauffele hasn't shown that he can play well in this course. And until he does, I will fade him, especially if he's high owned. So there you go. I'm throwing out the stats this week for Xander.
Okay. I mean, it's going to be interesting. I think ownership is key. If you're playing DraftKings GPPs, ownership is huge this week. You got to have leverage. It's a full field event with a lot of big names. So play the ownership game. Ownership is huge, and really the tee time advantage or the potential tee time advantage. So depending on how the weather shakes out for Thursday and Friday, that's going to be a big deal. And we record this on a Monday night. We don't know what the tee times are yet. They don't release those till Tuesday, so we don't know what they are. So check back. That's what I got to say. All right, Pat, who you got?
All right, so I'm going to go with a guy here that I'm not feeling all that much, and you've talked about him from a betting standpoint, from a playing him standpoint, and that is Matthew Wolff. Don't like Matthew Wolff this week. Okay. So I'm throwing a little curveball here for you because I think you liked bets on him, but I don't know about DFS. I can't even remember. But I'm not a big fan of Matthew Wolff, and he was kind of one of those polarizing guys that a lot of people talked about last week. A lot of people were either off him, a lot of people were on him. But I'm just not a big fan of Wolff this week. I think I'm out on him in DFS and in betting as well.
Well, I didn't like him last week because I felt like the American Express and the course there, or the main course there, really takes the stadium course really takes his greatest weapon out of his hand, which is the driver, and that's what we saw happen. Matthew Wolff is a bomber, and what happened last week? He lost almost a stroke off the tee. Now that doesn't happen normally. It has happened recently, more so for Matt Wolff, but it doesn't happen normally. But what did he do well? He hit his irons very, very well. He gained 3.2 strokes on approach with his irons. He finished T40, not great. So it was a good fade. So last week I got him right. This week I want to play him because Torrey Pines is a bomber's course. It is a bomber's course through and through. So given the fact that the irons were so good last week, given the fact that now Torrey Pines puts the driver back in hand, and now he gets on POA. So POA over his career, now it's a short career. I want to say it's, 35 measured PGA Tour events. His best putting surface by far is POA. Almost 3 times better on POA than bent grass, than Bermuda grass, which is what he was on last week, and about twice as good as he is on bent grass. So he comes to a place where he's better, better putting surface. He's played here a few rounds at the South Course, and he's hit the ball pretty well. So maybe his ownership is a little lower because of the miscut last week, and that throws some people off. But I love the value too at 9,100, and the kid has chops. He could win. I mean, he literally could win. So I think the value is pretty good for him. In DFS, I think it's kind of a wait and see. Let's wait and see what the weather advantage looks like. Let's wait and see what the ownership looks like. But in terms of betting, and we're about to get into that, let's just get into it now. DK Sportsbook Bets. I'll go ahead and say right off the bat, Wolff is one that I had circled. He's currently, as of Monday night, he's currently at 34-1. I actually like that number at 34-1. I think he gives you the value. I think the kid could win. So, yeah, there you go. And we'll get into this. I really only have one other kind of. I don't even know. This is really even short. Let's talk about betting. Let's talk about betting this tournament. I don't know that betting outrights this early in the game make a lot of sense unless you really see a number where you see a lot of value, because tee time advantages are huge here at Torrey Pines. you have the North Course, which they're going to play one round on either Thursday or Friday. Last year, now they did renovate the North Course, and it's playing a little more difficult than in years past. But even last year, it still played about 2.5 strokes easier on average than the South Course. The South Course is notoriously one of the tougher courses on the PGA Tour rotation every year. So with the weather, typically most PGA Tour players would rather play the easier course on the day where the weather is best for scoring. They would rather play the North Course in this scenario if the weather is better on, let's say, Thursday. And I don't know, but let's just say the weather's better on Thursday. Most PGA Tour pros would rather play the North Course on that day and get their birdies. Get them. Okay? Let's not play the easy course on the day where the weather sucks and you can't get the birdies. Then on the South Course, the more difficult course, even if they play that on the tougher weather day, you're already going to the South Course knowing this is going to be a grind it out kind of day on the golf course. Pars are your friend. Don't make a huge number. A bogey is not the end of the world. Birdies, a couple birdies will come here and there, but par is okay. So with that being said, I think it's smart to kind of wait and see on the weather draw in terms of betting outrights. And it could be a smart thing to bet your outrights on the North Course. If they start on the North Course on Thursday, bet those pre-tournament and then wait and see what happens to the guys who start on the South Course Thursday and maybe live bet those after round one. Because if you got a player like, let's say a really hot, like a Matt Wolff, let's say he starts out pre-tournament 34-1, but he starts on the South Course, the harder course. He goes out on Thursday, maybe he shoots even par. Okay. Guys on the South Course are shooting 5 under. And DraftKings maybe adjust his odds to 40-1, 45-1, because he didn't have a great start. He's 5 shots behind, but he just played the tougher course. Maybe that's when you jump on him and bet him live since he's playing the North Course the next day. But it all depends on weather. So it's a big deal this week, and I think it's something to pay attention to. But I like Matt Wolff at 35-1, and then I'll go to Adam Scott at 45-1. Just names to look at in terms of outrights. Adam Scott's a great ball striker. He strikes it well here. And in fact, he actually putts well, which is something he normally never does. He putts well at Torrey Pines South. Historically, over the last 4 years, he's a really good putter in this field. So if he can work that out, we know he's one of the best ball strikers on the course. So that's kind of my shorter to mid-range guys. I mean, obviously the favorites are there. John Rahm's your favorite. Tony Finau's an interesting name. Who do you have kind of in that short range? I know I just went on a long rant there, but I think it's important for people to understand that about this week. It's very different.
Yeah, I do think it's very. As a matter of fact, of the weeks where we have the 2 course rotations, or 3 course rotations, sometimes this is one of the most important weeks, I think, to get right and to understand the strategy there. I think that's important. So appreciate that. But the shortest guy I really like, you mentioned Finau. I do like him, but I really love some Hideki at 25-1. This is a course that he has shown that he can play well in the past. And he actually doesn't putt all that. Everybody always talks about his putting. It's not all that bad on this course. It's actually pretty good here. So I think that Hideki makes a lot of sense at 25-1. Obviously has a lot of win equity. We know he can win. And
that's debatable. He hasn't won in 4 years, but he could.
Well, but still. Well, neither Rory we haven't seen win in 15 months, and he's one of the best players in the world.
Yeah.
So, look, he is a guy that can win in a strong field. We don't typically see a whole lot of long shots win this tournament. Leishman was 50 or 60-1 last year, but other than that, they've been pretty short. So I think I'm not going to go too long with a lot of my bets this week. And then I liked Scott. You mentioned him. I like Bubba Watson at 50-1. Look, Bubba's a guy who's he's coming back after, it's been a long break for him. And I think you could make a case for not playing some of those guys that are shaking the rust off. But Bubba's just the kind of player, he goes by natural ability, what suits his eye. We've seen him, win on courses multiple times. He's won here before in 2012. He can certainly win here again. And the way he struck the ball last year was fantastic. I was actually shocked that he didn't get a win. So I like Bubba at 50-1. I think that's a good number. Going a little bit longer, I think Gary Woodland at 70-1 is a good number.
It's a good
We
value.
finally are getting a healthy Gary Woodland. He talked about that this week already. He's feeling no pain for the first time in a while. We saw some form last week at the American Express. I like Gary Woodland at 70-1.
That's a number that I think people need to jump on right now. If you're watching this live, if you're watching this early on Tuesday or Wednesday, you need to jump on that now. If it's
and I think you could even bet them at top 10 at 7.5-1. If you don't like that, if you don't like that 70-1, go top 10 and go 7.5-1. A couple more, and then I'll let you close us out. I like Charles Howell at 80-1. He is also 6.5-1 to finish as in the top 10. I think that's a good number as well. And then another top 10 number that I like is Maverick McNealy at 16-1.
I like
he is a guy has been in, he's kind of in an up and down form, but it hasn't been that bad. He's a California kid. He knows these surfaces out here, and it's changing because we got bent grass on one course, the north course, and then we got Poa on the south course. And then we got Kikuyu rough, like Kikuyu. Like you don't see that every week. So he's used to that, playing these courses as a California kid. I like him this week, and I love that 16-1 number for a top 10 for McNealy. So there you go.
Yeah, I do like that as a top 10. That's a big number for a guy that's played really well out here and can get really hot with the putter. All right, yeah. So if you look at these past champs here, you're right. Like tend to see some shorter winners. You had Leishman last year at 55-1. Before that, you had Rose at 14-1, Day at 22-1, Rahm at 55-1. Early in his career, Snedeker at 18-1, Day at 14-1. So you definitely tend to have shorter winners here as opposed to like last week at the Amex where you had. Your defending champ was 300-1, and the guy before that was 600-1, literally. Welcome to golf. Yeah. All right. I think keeping in the mid-range, I like Jason Kokrak, who won his first PGA Tour event back in the fall at 60-1. He's a long hitter. He's played Torrey Pines South pretty well, has a renewed confidence after winning his first event in the fall. He's long overdue for that victory. I like him at 60. Cameron Davis at 70-1, the long-hitting, tall drink of water Aussie, who I absolutely love, had a shot to win it on Sunday. Could have won it on Sunday, this past Sunday at the Amex. I think he finished 2 or 3 shots behind Siwoo Kim. But we were going into the back nine on Sunday with live winners that we wrote up on Siwoo and Cam Davis. Siwoo closed the door. Cam couldn't quite get it done for his first PGA Tour victory. But Australians do well here. Look at the recent winners that I just read off. Mark Leishman, Australian. Jason Day has won here twice, Australian. They're familiar with Kikuyu grass, number one. And I think that they're used to this style of golf, this style of play, this climate that you get in California. I think they just get it. So Cameron Davis, long hitting Australian at 70-1, I think is interesting. It'd be a pretty big ask for him to get his first tour win at Torrey Pines, but I think he's got the chops, and I was glad to see him late on Sunday have a shot. I bet he learned a lot. The last bomb I'll give you is Luke List at 110-1. I can't not talk about Luke List. Plays Torrey Pines South really well. Just finished with a top 25 at the Amex. Hits it a mile long way, which you got to have here at Torrey Pines South. And so I'm going to go Luke List 110-1. I think that's a nice bomb that you could have there on your betting card. But yeah, pay attention to tee time advantages, weather, all that good stuff. Thanks for watching TJ After Dark, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. We're the Tour Junkies. Give this video a thumbs up if you don't mind. Leave us a comment. Tell us who you think's going to win at what number. If you get it right, tell you what. If you get it right, we'll send you a piece of Tour Junkies merch. Maybe you think you wouldn't use it, but oh well. You give it to somebody else who would. So there you go. Leave a comment. Who you think's going to win? At what number? Who would you bet on? If you get it right, we'll send you some Tour Junkies merch. Thanks for watching. We'll be back next week. May your screens be green for the Farmers Insurance Open. See ya. Out.